At the 2019 Greater Cleveland Partnership Annual Meeting, we have the opportunity to update you on the work we are doing on behalf of the business community. The electrical outage at the event prevented us from doing that this year, so we've decided to create this online show to ensure you are still aware of and connected to our work, as there are exciting things on the horizon. This year is especially important as we are celebrating the 15-year anniversary of the GCP, which was the coming together of the Growth Association, Cleveland Tomorrow, and the Greater Cleveland Roundtable, along with retaining the most robust small business organization in the country, COSE. Having been here from the very beginning of GCP, when most in the community said merging these three business groups wouldn't last 2 years, I can attest that just the opposite has happened. We've gotten stronger, CEOs didn't turn away, new CEOs got engaged, resources increased substantially, and small, mid, and large-sized companies can and do agree on a business prioritized agenda. When we created the organization, we knew that collaboration, partnership, and alignment were key to making big change in this region. So went the new name. And that philosophy hasn't wavered. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors of the annual meeting. Their belief in what we do here at GCP is evident, and we appreciate their partnership very much.
I've been lucky enough to serve on the GCP board for all those 15 years, and it's amazing to look back on what we've accomplished together. As I think about it, there are three things that stand out to me. First, and most importantly, we have a great track record of collaboration, and collaboration is the key. I can't think of a single major accomplishment where we haven't operated in partnership with government officials or our economic development peers or philanthropy or higher education or social services, and often it's been many of them at once. Second, we're good at complex, large-scale problems and opportunities because we bring a broad mix of capabilities to the table. We're well known for helping businesses of all sizes grow, but we also work on advocacy, real estate, equity and inclusion, and talent. And finally, the GCP staff is incredible. They are what makes it possible for us to deliver all those capabilities and to succeed on the toughest challenges. As I said, we've accomplished incredible things together. GCP's role has been to make its unique contributions to the group effort, and I just wanted to recap a few of them. Over the last 15 years, we've provided almost $450 million in funding and advisory services to help launch just about every catalytic real estate development in Greater Cleveland. We've led the advocacy effort to secure billions of dollars in state and federal funding for everything from Public Square, Playhouse Square, and the Rock Hall, to huge infrastructure projects like the Interbelt and Shoreway, to Opportunity Corridor and countless other neighborhood, educational, and cultural projects. And yes, we've worked with many companies and in the process helped create or retain over 100,000 jobs. As the largest metropolitan chamber of commerce in the country, working together, we can accomplish even more in the future. The reason we wanted to focus on innovation this year is because it's so critical to Cleveland's future and because it's a major focus for GCP. When we created our current strategic plan, we engaged over 250 businesses and organizations who are involved in economic development. The priorities that emerged were clear: accelerate growth in the innovation sectors of our economy, build a better workforce and talent pipeline, improve economic inclusion and build a growth strategy around diversity, and understand whether our tax structure is impeding growth. As we started our innovation work, our first step was to create a partnership among the most relevant leading organizations. Specifically, we joined forces with the Cleveland Foundation, the Fund for Our Economic Future, Jumpstart, and Team NEO to launch a study that would help us create a strategy for boosting innovation. The assessment had the following goals: to see how we compare to our peers, to inventory our innovation resources, activities, and the players involved, to embed diversity and inclusion, to understand potential innovation acceleration models, to create preliminary recommendations, and to ensure alignment with other innovation efforts already in process like Blockland. The deliverable, which we expect before the end of the year, should do two things. First, identify the 2 to 3 innovation industry sectors where big bets have the greatest potential for growth in our region. And 2, identify the few critical steps we can take to improve the ecosystem that supports regional innovation.
McKinsey's initial work has flagged the many areas where we lag our peer cities on top-line metrics such as share of GDP in innovation sectors, growth rate in innovation sectors, and minority entrepreneur rankings. It has also begun to highlight areas where we might play more of a leading role under the right circumstances. In order to help guide and inform this work, we are already assembling a larger group of executives and members of our community with relevant expertise. We have recruited CEOs, workstream captains, and individuals with expertise to drive this work and serve as our initial steering committee leaders. We are likely to add more. The CEOs, GCP board members, and community leaders serving on our Innovation Steering Committee can be seen on the slide. The workstream captains will also be recruiting a list of other people with expertise in their respective sectors. Now we will hear from 3 GCP board members about how they view innovation and why they believe it is key to our region's future.
Innovation, quite frankly, is so critical to growth.
I think of innovation as part of the fuel that keeps the economy going, and collaboration is another important piece of that.
So innovation related to a region is how do we make the environment or the ecosystem of this region flourishing, nurturing of innovative companies, people wanting to come here, existing companies wanting to grow. That's, I think, what innovation for the region means.
If we don't innovate, we risk becoming irrelevant or ultimately even extinct.
There have been other efforts in the past to ensure that Northeast Ohio and Cleveland specifically has a thriving innovation culture. I think this particular study and this effort is different because of the significant number of senior leaders across Northeast Ohio and CEOs who are engaged in this process.
We have to take what we learned from the study and think about how we're going to make some changes to foster that culture of innovation across our entire region.
And the whole goal here is to try to find 2 or 3 key things that we could do better, differently, to drive economic growth for the region.
We really have to work together. In fact, we don't have time to waste on working in silos. We know we can accomplish so much more if we work together.
And we have the GCP is a vehicle to do that with. It brings government, it brings businesses together, all for the collective good of trying to make Greater Cleveland better.
And by building on our strengths, we can continue to, again, build this momentum toward growth and economic prosperity in Northeast Ohio.
Innovation certainly isn't something new in this community, and it's only one factor among many that drive a successful economy. At GCP, we believe that innovation has always been a part of our DNA. We have taken on various projects, initiatives, issues, and challenges in our 15-year history. We've always viewed everything with a fresh new perspective. We certainly want to honor and respect the lessons of our past, but we know that to create a brighter future, we need to focus on thinking beyond where we have been and shift our focus to where we want to be. Our work with organizations like Jumpstart and BioEnterprise, organizations we created over 15 years ago, showcases our ability to identify challenges and develop solutions that benefit the broad business community. Another example of this is our work with the formation of the statewide Third Frontier program, which helps take advanced ideas and turn them into new technology businesses. We are working closely with the new administration on this initiative and helping frame what comes next. Equally innovative in the past administration is the creation of a new statewide organization called Jobs Ohio, who we work with closely on many key projects. Our work to grow the regional economy and focus on how we can best connect businesses to the resources and support they need will never stop. The Business Growth and Development Team at GCP works with area businesses to help them grow and thrive in our region by connecting them to the resources offered by GCP and to our larger network of local, regional, and state partners. Within the last 2 years, our team's efforts resulted in nearly 40,000 jobs being created or retained and contributed to over $2 billion in new capital investment. While those numbers are impressive, we believe we can and must do more. Companies that call Greater Cleveland home are responsible for 80% of the new jobs created in our region. That's the primary reason why this year we significantly expanded our team, tripling the number of people we have out in the community visiting businesses.
One of our other strategic planks involved our region's tax structure, which we suspected may be limiting both economic and population growth in the region. We hired EY to analyze our tax environment and competitiveness compared to 10 similar Great Lakes markets. The study showed that if you live in Cleveland or Cuyahoga County, you face a higher tax burden than your peers in those other cities, and taxes are considerably higher in our county than in the counties around us. Business taxes are closer to average, but unfortunately, the personal tax issue hits every business where it counts on our ability to attract and retain talent. The results suggested two things. One, the solution isn't about individual tax issues, but about a better system for delivering government services. GCP has found that most individual tax issues are worthy, and we've supported almost all of them. Second, getting to a structural solution will require a broad-based community discussion. We've already started having conversations with other community stakeholders to understand what their interests are, what changes are possible, and what additional research we'll need. The tax work was overseen by GCP's advocacy team, which plays a critical role in our mission. The team understands the legislative processes and has deep relationships at the local, state, and federal levels of government. They generate support for meaningful change on the business community's behalf. Their priorities this year include supporting a predictable tax environment, working on regulations that impact business, supporting policies that impact minority businesses in particular, and leading at the federal level on Great Lakes issues and support of NASA Glen Plumbrook. These are big initiatives, but they're key to the partnership between the public and private sectors that's been behind most of our significant accomplishments. We've seen large-scale public-private efforts have great impact on neighborhoods across the city, and there are a couple we wanted to highlight today. Opportunity Corridor has just moved into its final construction phase. The 3-mile boulevard will connect the interstate system at East 55th Street and I-490 East to 105th Street at University Circle. The entire program was an innovative transformation of what began as a transportation project. As a result, Opportunity Corridor will serve as a catalyst for job creation and community investment by improving access to job hubs through an already existing public transportation system and by spurring the redevelopment of hundreds of acres of underused land. But the Opportunity Corridor doesn't stand alone. Thankfully, the catalytic RTA Health Line, and the ever-cascading series of new investment in the Midtown Corridor all support one another. We want to see the same level of progress we've made in West Side neighborhoods like Detroit Shoreway, Tremont, and Ohio City brought to these East Side neighborhoods. Federal Opportunity Zone is another program that promises to support continued growth in these and other neighborhoods. The program allows investors to defer capital gains taxes by investing the proceeds in an Opportunity Zone fund. Those funds in turn invest in businesses within the higher poverty areas designated as Opportunity Zones. There are 64 Opportunity Zones in Cuyahoga County. Our advocacy team and GCP's real estate arm, Cleveland Development Advisors, played a leading role in convening countless partners, gaining consensus, and recommending zones to the state. To support this effort, CDA is creating a $50 million real estate investment fund. The Opportunity CLE Development Fund will provide financing to support impactful projects in underserved neighborhoods and communities. Our goal is to encourage private investments that create measurable community impacts in our target markets. Since its inception, CDA has invested over $445 million in more than 130 projects across Greater Cleveland, generating $3.7 billion of total development. Last year alone, CDA investments supported almost 700,000 square feet of real estate in 7 neighborhoods. That adds to the more than 5 million square feet of vacant buildings that CDA-financed developments have helped to repurpose over the years. There are a lot of players in neighborhood economic development, so we certainly don't go it alone. 3 community leaders will share with us how they are involved in driving projects and initiatives that benefit the businesses and people in our neighborhoods.
So if you look in this nation, there hasn't been any substantially new community development programs over the last 50 years. But we're facing a really important moment, not only for our region, but I would offer for our nation, where innovative thinking is going to be the difference maker on how we chart the next 50 years.
Often in life, it is more important to know the right questions to ask than to know the right answers, because a clear statement of a problem gets you 50% of the way towards the solution.
So when we take the institutions and programs and systems and braid them together in collaboration with a new program, such as Opportunity Zones, I think we have a chance to really demonstrate a new approach not only to economic development, but to community development.
The digital divide is something that every major city in America is trying to solve, and all rural communities are trying to solve. More than 55,000 households in the city of Cleveland have no access to the internet in any subscription form. And Digital C is out to see if neighborhood by neighborhood we can transform the city and make sure everyone's connected. This is a bigger project than Digital C. This is going to take the whole community collaborating together.
When you get the right people together, working with the community, that causes the community to believe that they are part of the solution, that they have input.
The opportunity to bring in new sources of equity and capital, but do so with a vision on how that can support the people and the residents of that community is really an opportunity that few other places in this nation have in the same way that Cleveland does.
GCP is committed to working with our public and private partners to ensure Northeast Ohio creates, attracts, and retains a 21st century workforce. Talent remains the #1 challenge for our member companies, and GCP is intent on working with our partners in the public and private sector to develop solutions and strategies to address the gap. Our work will continue with Cleveland Metropolitan School District. Feedback and input from businesses was an important element in the planning and launch of a Say Yes to Education chapter in Northeast Ohio. Say Yes to Education is a community initiative that aims to make education a priority for Cleveland residents by improving college access for middle and low-income families in Cleveland. Our work has been focused on bringing the business voice to the table and focusing on the most important sectors. We have found that workforce sector partnerships are a new and innovative approach that has been working in other communities and other countries. The GCP supported the passage of legislation that adds Cuyahoga County funding to other committed private sector investment for the creation of industry sector partnerships in manufacturing, healthcare, and information technology driven by the business community. This legislation is an outgrowth of a public-private and philanthropic collaboration of workforce development organizations, including GCP, who have been working for the past 2 years to cement the strategy. The Manufacturing Sector Partnership has already launched, and it will be co-managed by GCP and Magnet. The results of all workforce efforts in the community must also be bolstered by new transit investments and mobility options for all Clevelanders to really be connected to the economy. GCP successfully lobbied the state to dramatically increase their annual support of transit and is performing a financial and operational analysis of RTA as we all craft a new transit vision for our community. The Commission on Economic Inclusion has also been focused on workforce, working since 2001 to address the racial disparities in jobs, income, and wealth by growing businesses owned by people of color and increasing workforce diversity, equity, and inclusion. Ultimately, this work is fueled by the belief that businesses and the region are stronger with greater racial equity. Our Forward CLE strategic plan work over the past year has inspired us to make a 180-degree shift in our thinking, flipping this process on its head. In the past, we have developed strategies and implemented initiatives, then challenged ourselves to be diverse and inclusive. Now we want to put equity and inclusion at the front of our ideas and initiatives. To do that, GCP and Commission leadership are in the midst of a 6-month-long process to brainstorm ideas with our members. It is our goal to define and implement at least 3 important equitable and inclusive economic strategies that will fuel growth to our regional economy with a focus on increased employment, income, and wealth creation.
It's critical that businesses have leadership and workforce that mimic the diversity of their customers and the communities in which they do business. GCP helps businesses in this community embrace diversity, inclusion, and equity. That's part of our goal as a representative of the business community in Greater Cleveland.
The Commission is charged with making sure that we help businesses grow. They can't grow unless we help them change in a way that they are more diverse, that they really are more inclusive, and that they are recruiting experts in their specific professions. And so as a goal and objective of the Commission, we are really concerned about making sure companies concentrate on workforce development.
If you're really doing workforce development right, you're not just teaching somebody a skill for a job tomorrow. You're teaching them a set of skills for the long-term development of their career. They'll stay with the company, they'll build their skills, and frankly, they'll build wealth, and that's very good for this community.
We talk a lot about innovation. I have adopted the philosophy that many people have, is that let's not just think out of the box, but let's make the box bigger. Let's include so many more people and so much more talent in the box that the box just continues to grow and to grow. And recognizing that there's so much talent in the entire bucket that we cannot leave the table without understanding that. We're not going to be able to grow if we don't.
If Greater Cleveland can be a better place for the people we employ to work and live and prosper, then I will have fulfilled my mission in associating with GCP.
This is an exciting time for our region and for our organization. The state of the Greater Cleveland Partnership is strong. We now have 12,000 members, further solidifying our place as the largest metro chamber in the country. And while we are a chamber of commerce, as you can see through our many accomplishments, we are also an innovative economic development organization. This strong combination has made us unique and impactful for this region and the business community. Our commitment to being the voice of the private sector, when and wherever necessary and required, remains a core tenet of our brand. After our first 15 years, I couldn't feel better about the difficult structural changes the business community endorsed back then, and I know there is much more to come.
GCP is a platform for collaboration, and that's always been a key to our success. Collaboration among member businesses and with organizations who share our passion and vision for the future of Northeast Ohio. We provide a place for leaders from companies of all sizes who want to have an impact on major business and civic issues. Our track record shows us one clear lesson. We do best when talented, capable people and organizations work together. There's always more work to be done, and therefore more leaders needed to pave the way. So as you think ahead to the accomplishments you hope we'll be celebrating 15 years from now, ask yourself, what role are you going to play in making Greater Cleveland a vibrant and thriving region?
Thank you for attending the 2019 Greater Cleveland Partnership Annual Meeting.